The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise. Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
And good morning here at 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. And breaking overnight, a street in northwest Bakersfield was blocked off for several hours due to a large police presence. It happened on Jimrick Avenue just after midnight. We're still working to get more information from several BPD officers and sheriff's deputies who were all on scene. Traffic has since cleared. We'll get you an update as soon as we learn more.
Now to a traffic alert on Interstate 5 near the Grapevine this morning following a huge spill yesterday afternoon. You're taking a live look at the traffic jam. 1,000 boxes of coffee creamer scattered across lanes of the I-5 around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. CHP says several vehicles, including 2 semis, got into the crash, resulting in the spill. 2 lanes of northbound traffic remains closed during the cleanup. Officials said the closure was supposed to go until 3 o'clock this afternoon, but new updates show it may last even longer. If you're heading down south today, this should not affect your commute.
Will or won't Russia invade Ukraine remains a burning question on the mind of world leaders this morning. This after Russian President Vladimir Putin declared 2 separatist regions of Ukraine independent and ordered Russian troops into those regions as peacekeepers. Let's
take you live out to Capitol Hill this morning. U.S. officials are not calling this an invasion, but they are watching out for more Russian aggression. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington this morning with the latest.
Good morning, Alex, Maddie. The United States imposed limited sanctions on 2 Russian-backed separatist regions of eastern Ukraine and is expected to announce new sanctions on Russia today. Raising the stakes on an already tense situation, Russian President Vladimir Putin is now recognizing 2 key regions of eastern Ukraine as independent states and ordering troops into those areas.
President, let me also thank you.
During a rare emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council, the U.S. ambassador warns Russia's deployment is a pretext for war.
He calls them peacekeepers. This is nonsense. We know what they really are.
In response, President Biden signed an executive order imposing sanctions on the 2 Russian separatist regions of Ukraine. The order prohibits new investment, trade, and financing in those areas. Officials say more actions aimed at Russia are still to come.
Sanctions and actions at the Security Council, I should underscore, only part of our response. We've also been increasing substantially the amount of security assistance that we provide to the Ukrainians.
Russia continues to deny plans to attack, criticizing the West instead.
Whipping up unfounded panic around the allegedly impending Russian invasion of Ukraine.
On the ground in Ukraine, commanders say they've been under fire from Russia's newly recognized separatists and have fired back, saying this is an historic moment and maybe a breaking point. Ukraine's president says his one goal is peace in Ukraine. Secretary of State Blinken will meet with Ukraine's foreign minister later today here in Washington, D.C. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson for 17 News.
5:06 is our time now, and yesterday marked 14 months since Orrin and Orson West were reported missing from their adoptive parents' home in California City. Bakersfield police are heading up the search for the boys. The biological family and their supporters appeared outside BPD headquarters in downtown Bakersfield yesterday afternoon for a vigil in remembrance of Orrin and Orson.
We're just keeping the faith alive and praying that, soon we'll get justice, I mean, that's what we're hoping for 2022 is justice, and just trying to keep the hope alive, bring them home. We want them home.
If you have any information about the whereabouts of Orrin and Orson West, you're asked to call Kern Secret Witness at 322-4040. We have been following the case from the beginning, and you can find our full reports on the missing boys on our website, kget.com.
Your time now is 5:07, and the family of a teen killed in a hit-and-run crash is inviting the community to a funeral service today. 16-year-old Angel Baruman was hit by a car as he rode on his skateboard on Niles Street near Brentwood Drive back on January 25th. 48-year-old Juan Ortega is charged in connection to the deadly hit-and-run and is out on bail. Angel's service will be held this morning at 10 a.m. at Basham Funeral Care on Niles Street. Attendees are asked to wear lavender, Angel's favorite color.
Bakersfield police need your help to find a missing 65-year-old woman considered at risk. I want to show you a picture of Catherine Condeff. She was last seen yesterday on Grand Prairie Drive in southwest Bakersfield. She is described as 4 feet 11 inches tall, about 100 pounds. She was last seen wearing a black shirt that read, "God is good." Police say she has dementia and requires special care. If you know where Catherine Condeff may be, you're asked to call police at 327-7111.
We're learning more about an officer-involved shooting in South Bakersfield from over the weekend that left a 41-year-old father of 4 dead. 2 Bakersfield police officers shot and killed Alexandra Rosales at his home on Dayton Avenue near the Valley Plaza Mall on Saturday night. Officers were dispatched to the area in response to a domestic violence call. Rosales was taken to Kern Medical for treatment, but later pronounced dead. Authorities say Rosales had a gun, and investigators confirmed the weapon was found at the scene. The 2 officers are on paid administrative leave. And a reminder, if you experience domestic violence or you know someone who has, there's help. Always call 911 in an emergency. You can also call the Alliance Against Family Violence and Sexual Assault at 322-0931. Their crisis line is 327-1091 or the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE.
Now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic in Kern County as the CDC prepares to loosen mask requirements. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky will meet with the White House tomorrow, and a new masking plan could be released as early as next week. The agency claims it is premature to drop indoor mask requirements everywhere. California dropped its statewide mask mandate last week. Hawaii is the only state that has not announced plans to drop its indoor mask requirements.
And now a look at the latest coronavirus numbers in Kern County. Public Health did not release new data yesterday due to the President's Day holiday. On Friday, it reported more than 1,200 new cases of COVID-19. That ended our streak of daily case numbers below the 1,000 mark. 6 new deaths were also reported. New state data released yesterday showed a large drop in hospitalizations, down to 120 from 151 reported Friday. 26 people are in area intensive care units, down from 33.
2 fallen Porterville firefighters were honored yesterday as their families filed a wrongful death lawsuit. Captain Ray Figueroa of Delano and firefighter Patrick Jones died while fighting a fire at the Porterville Public Library 2 years ago. Medeiros Babb of our sister station in Fresno with more on yesterday's tribute and the lawsuit.
This was his.
Not a day goes by that Ramon Figueroa doesn't think about his son Ray. In front of his fireplace, a shrine in his son's honor.
Miss him every day. And like I say, you know, like people say time heals. Well, that's not true because it doesn't heal. You just got to learn to go forward, but the hurt is still there.
On February 18th, 2020, Ray called Ramon to ask him to lunch the next day.
Well, as you know, that's the last time we spoke.
Confirm we do have heavy fire and smoke in the library.
Later on the 18th, flames quickly engulfed the Porterville Public Library after officials say 2 juveniles set the library on fire. Firefighters, including Patrick Jones and Captain Ray Figueroa, rushed into the library blaze to make sure no one was inside.
Report of a lady in a wheelchair inside. If you can tell us if she got out, let us know.
But the 2 never made it out.
He wrote this about Ray.
Now, nearly 2 years later, the Jones and Figueroa families have filed a lawsuit against the companies who made the firefighters' equipment, alleging that the breathing apparatus and radio batteries were defective.
If they wouldn't have failed, we probably wouldn't be here today. They'd be here today. We don't want another family or families to have to go through what we're going through.
As the family looks for justice, others show support.
Set up to sign the flag, so.
Jennifer Severins and Ernie Young hand-delivering these flags to the mothers of Jones and Figueroa. The flags have traveled across the country for 6 months. On them, signatures from firefighters from all over the U.S.
Family members' memory is going to continue on. Their sacrifice is going to be remembered, and it's not, you know, they're not alone. They're supported in everything that they do.
Medeiros Babb reporting. The families say the gesture means the world to them, and they're grateful for all of the support. Meantime, 2 juveniles are set to go to trial in April on charges of arson and murder.
Your time now is 5:36. Making news around the state, California's budget surplus this year could be a lot bigger than state leaders projected. In its February update, the state legislative analyst office says there's a very good chance money collected from state personal income sales and corporation taxes will exceed the governor's projected revenues by anywhere between $6 billion and $23 billion.
That we are going to look at this through the lens of equity for the hardest working Californians who have not rebounded, who are continuing to suffer. So stimulus is part of that, but it will be through that lens and trying to make sure that we're able to cover those bases thoughtfully and to make a difference in real people's lives.
The governor has said there will likely be some form of contribution back to the taxpayer, but in what form and how much is something he'll work out with the legislature. They still have about 4 months to figure it out.
Here at home, the Bakersfield City Council is holding its 3rd public hearing on the redrawing of its ward map tomorrow, and this discussion could get heated this time around, with critics already blaming the city or blasting the city's proposed boundary changes. The process of redistricting happens every 10 years at every level across the state. The goal of redrawing maps is to readjust districts based on population changes and from the 2010 census to 2020's. Bakersfield saw a population growth of about 16%. Those interested are encouraged to attend and can provide comments either in person or in writing. The hearing will take place at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers.
Meantime, we are saddened to report Kern County lost a community angel over the weekend. 59-year-old Beverly Camp lost her 20-month battle with breast cancer and died early Saturday morning here in Bakersfield. Camp brought financial stability to Catholic charities, raising over $1 million to support families across the county. She and her husband, Jim, brought the county's only burn unit to Bakersfield Memorial Hospital. They also opened a state-of-the-art robotics center at Mercy Southwest and together led the charge to open the new Mercy Southwest Tower project in Southwest Bakersfield. A celebration of life will be held at 10:30 a.m. Thursday at Seven Oaks Country Club. In lieu of flowers, the Camp family requests donations be made in Bev's name to Mercy Southwest Tower project.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.